I want you when your son or daughter score that first goal on the soccer field and they turn to the bleachers to see if you're looking and you're not even there, you ain't ever getting that back.
No.
Never.
No.
That is that you can always make more money. Okay. You never get that time back. You never get that event back. And you weren't there because you had to work, Mr. Owner.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I got to dig in the pain a little bit with people because like, you don't know the effect you're having. Like the business means nothing if you've lost the heart of your daughter or your son. You know what I mean? Are you tired of working more for less profits in your home service business? What if I could show you $100,000 in hidden annual profits in your business in less than 3 minutes? Would you be interested? And not only show you where, but how to create that 100K in 6 months or less without additional advertising or marketing spend guaranteed. Just go to sharpenthespearcoaching.com to see how truly simple it is. That's sharpenthespearcoaching.com. Do it now. And we are back on STS Sharpen the Spear podcast with another incredible guest. I've got Marcia Riner with us today, and this is actually a really great topic because I'm really familiar with this and I really like it. And we're pretty aligned on this. She's got even more things that I could possibly bring to the show. So it's just going to be awesome. So Marcia, as we always do on STS, no one knows Marcia better than Marcia. Marcia, backstory, bring us up to speed, and we are going to jump into the conversation.
Love it. Well, not too many people are going to want to know about the backstory when I was like 11 in the lemonade stand, but I'll tell you a little how I got into the business and how I formulated my ideas. But Marcia Riner's my name. My company is Infinite Profit, and I'm known by my own branding as the Profit Booster. And so I'm all about profitability and businesses, helping them to increase revenue and drive growth so that they can eventually have a business asset worth selling and then get a maximum value for it. So many people leave money on the table. And so that's been kind of my calling. But a little bit of back history. I came out of financial services, CFP, financial planner. Both parents were business owners, and neither one of them sold their business when they had the opportunity to. And actually, mom, who was a forerunner in the mortgage industry way back when it was formulating. She had Washington Mutual, if you remember that kind of damaged name, come to her and say, we want to buy your firm. And she's like, well, I'm not ready to retire. So she left $1 million offer on the table. And come 2008, when the mortgage, post-mortgage crash, she ended up closing her doors with a bunch of office equipment and, nothing. Thank goodness she was a saver, but nothing to show for it. So when I left financial advising back in 2016, I wanted to come out as like a business planner. Let me help you plan, because all my clients, or many of my clients, were business owners, and they'd come to me and they'd go, Marcia, part of our retirement planning was to sell this company. And I'm like, great, what's the value? They'd give me some Shark Tank number, 10 times EBITDA or whatever. And I'm like, sure. Well, how are we going to get that value? And they never had a solid answer. So knowing that my plans were going to fail, I'd start to help them with ideas, because I'm always educating myself. And it just turned into a business when I left financial planning in 2016 into where I am today. And now I consult with companies to help them on the first side, which is create a great business. And on the back side, it's a win-win. Let's make money now and let's make money later when we can sell our company. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
I love it. I love it. It's a, I'm going to air quote, common story, but all of a sudden there's a need. You're doing something, and maybe you're saying there's a need and go, oh, I'll make that a business. And then you go solve the problems and solve the need. And there you go. Then it just launches a whole new season, right? Exactly. For your life. And that's how most entrepreneurs are. They do something. They either have a skill, a craft, trade, whatever. And then they kind of, well, I could do that. And they start doing it for someone, and it turns into this. And then they get on the kind of the hamster wheel, right? And that's why they get stuck not having a good valuation of their business. And they end up doing it for the rest of their life. And their kids don't want it, because they don't want to work, 16 hours a day, every day of the week, and have all these headaches and never be around to go to their kids' games and all this stuff. So it's like that thing. And then the parents go, why don't you want the business? So like, well, you weren't here when I grew up. You
right?
don't know what that's why I don't want it.
And I think the biggest mistake of that story, that very common story that you just described, is that they knew their thing, right? But they really had no idea how to wrap a business around it and make it a business and not a job with the worst boss and the worst employee ever, and an accounting team telling them to run their entire lifestyle through their business, hiring their kids and their wife and their cousin and their aunt. And I mean, it's a terrible setup. And I think that's why you and I really thrive in this business, is because we've got these ideas that help their companies run better, smarter, smoother, a whole lot more profitable. And then they've got to win at the end.
And they're needed less and less and less in the
Oh,
business.
right?
That's the key. So I'm profit, freedom, impact.
Yeah.
That's what I want to give them, right? We all get in the business for pretty much those three things.
Yep.
Let's make lots of money. Let me do what I want when I want, and let me help others and do cool things in the community and whatever. Exactly.
In reality,
Fill us in
that's
on the
what
reality,
happens.
right?
They're the lowest paid employee on the team. They work, 18 hours a day. And where was that vacation they took that they didn't, stress themselves out on? It's bonkers what we put ourselves through. But for the entrepreneurial mindset, us crazy folks, as one of my old coaches used to say, the 2%, right? We have to do something. So why not do it better? Why not find an easier mousetrap and be more successful, and then have that, as you mentioned, the lifestyle that we got into this business for?
Yeah, that's why I wrote my book, Escape the Owner Prison, because I kept helping these businesses and all the patterns were the same.
Isn't that funny?
They're all doing the same wrong things all the time. And I'm like, well, this should be easy to fix. I could just go fix everybody. I could get them off the golden hamster wheel. That's my goal. And it really it's great when you see it, because what we do is we give them freedom, profit, freedom, and impact, because we get their business running. We systemize, right? We do all this. If we find that profit, that's lost. They don't even know it, right? And they're just kind of like going along, wonder why they're not making money. And you change all that, and you see, for me, Marcia, is seeing that change. And I call it saving families. That's what I'm doing.
That's good.
Because you know how many businesses have destroyed families, right? So my big thing is like, you need to be with your family. Your kids want you around. They want you when your son or daughter score that first goal on the soccer field, and they turn to the bleachers to see if you're looking, and you're not even there, you ain't ever getting that back.
No.
Never.
No.
That is that you can always make more money. Okay, you never get that time back. You never get that event back, and you weren't there because you had to work, Mr. Owner. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So I got to dig in the pain a little bit with people, because like, you don't know the effect you're having. Like, the business means nothing if you've lost the heart of your daughter, or your son.
Your spouse,
you know what I mean?
Right.
Exactly.
Or your health,
same thing.
or the quality of life that you wanted. Yeah, I agree 1,000%. That's why, listeners, this is such a great conversation, because you've got not just one in Richard, but you've got number two in Marcia that think alike. And we're totally not passionate about it either, are we?
Right. Yeah. So on that, let's get into some of this, because I love to talk about, and I know you write a lot about this and you do this stuff too, is really the profit aspect in the business. We'll start there. We'll get to, succession, exit strategy, and all that stuff in a little bit. But let's talk about that, because so many, and I love to hear other people say this, and not just me, they leave so much profit on the table. They have it. They don't have to literally spend more or anything else. They're like, they don't understand the business end. And this is not a knock against any business owner, because anyone who starts a business, I love them.
Yes.
To have that kind of courage to go out and do that, whatever that takes, I get it, right? I love it. But what we want to do is we want to accelerate. We want to compress time. We don't want you fumbling around for 10 years. Okay. Then someone finally goes, oh, we're going to talk about, oh, why didn't you tell me this 10 years ago?
You're right.
Well, we're going to do that for you now, so that you know where to start looking and how to make this happen, so that you really have a plan. So give us a few things on that. Let's hit a few of those points.
Yeah, so let's just say, it's not a high math equation, right? It's very simple. Income revenue, right? Minus expenses equals profitability. And we can control the revenue with a group of strategies and ideas to improve that. And we're talking little incremental changes. Or we can look at the expense side and go, well, I got this money coming in and I got this money going out. So what can I control on the expense side to make that profitability a little bit higher? And I think the biggest problem that business owners do, because they're busy chasing customers and putting out fires, that they don't ever take a look at what's actually coming in and what's actually going out. And when you can look at those two sides and do it from a data perspective, you can make a whole lot better decisions, right? And I mean, there's 20 different ideas that we can do to increase revenue. And there's probably another 20 different ideas that we can discuss that will reduce the expenses. But if you don't look at them in the first place, or you're relying heavily on your accountant who's balancing, or your tax planner who's looking backwards, or your tax planner, which is looking forward, there are three people looking at your books a whole different way. And they're probably not looking at them the way you need to look at them so you can make great decisions. So I would encourage you, business owners, number one, manage your money. And it's not rocket science, is it? It's just understand what you're doing.
I say pay attention to your money.
Yes.
I make it even so that you got to pay attention to it. And you're talking to a guy who for 20 years didn't pay attention.
Yeah.
I just kept making more.
Well, making more is a good thing.
It is, but not when you don't have a plan for it. When you don't have a plan for it, it's not good. And I've been through this a lot on this show. So I like to, but it's just that I love to remind people, listen, things you don't pay attention to tend to leave. Your money will leave, your friends will leave, your spouse will leave, your kids will leave. Like, go ahead. Don't pay attention to it. Watch what happens. I guarantee it's just, it's the way it works. It's called Parkinson's Law. Especially with money. That's what it's called. It's like you don't pay if it doesn't have a plan every dollar. If I come to you, Marcia, and I say, Marcia, you're really cool. Here's $100. And you put it in your pocket and off you go. Then you and the girls go out to lunch and you buy lunch and if you drink whatever, then 3 days later, you're like, didn't I have $100? Like, what did I do with $100? Whatever. Exactly. You know what I mean? That's Parkinson's Law.
Love it.
But instead it went, $100. Oh, I'll go put this over here. Exactly. I'm going to do this. I'm going to put this towards that. Then and you can track it.
So funny that you say that. That's actually the name of my podcast. So I am a podcaster as well. And 6 years in, I've been on the same name called Profit with a Plan. Imagine that. So it's little self-plug there, but you gave it right
it's awesome.
To me.
No, but it's I have been on your show. I know I've been on your show. It might have been a year ago, but I was on your show. So it's a lot of shows. But the point being, it's like this is what we don't do as entrepreneurs is the planning part. Yeah. We don't really have a strategy. What we have is make it to payroll, make the next payroll. Gals having a workshop this morning, talking with a guy, and that's one of them is just that's all they're concerned about is getting the next. That's your focus. That's their focus. I go, that is a tiny hamster wheel.
You know why it's his focus? You know why it's his focus is because he missed payroll one time and his employees got uncomfortable and he got really uncomfortable. So now it's the first thought on his mind. So if you, as the consultant and coach, you can solve that problem for him and know that confidently he's going to make payroll each month, then he's not worried about it anymore.
The term I use, I tell him, here's the goal. You want to make payroll effortlessly. That should be it. It should be like, what am I worried about? I could do payroll for the next 6 months and I still have money.
Easy.
Like, you know what I mean? Like it's effortlessly. That's one of your first goals, right? But that doesn't come without the planning.
Right. I agree.
Because you're shifting money around like some madman playing the shell game. Okay. And checking not there. I'll move it. There it is. I'll move it over here now. That's where a lot of people are. And I'm not bashing. Again, I did all this. 20 years of making a lot, but not having a plan and spending on the wrong things and I did more wrong things than pretty much anybody.
Love the experience side of this.
But then flip it and go, okay, now I know what not to do, which I always think is a really good place to start. Just like I tell my kids, you need to know what you don't want to do. You don't need to know what you want to be or what you can do. You know what you don't want to do. If you can start with that, you're going to save a lot of time and misery.
Amazing. Great advice, Richard. I mean, this is really, truly, really good advice. But it's that simple advice that people look over because they want to go chase those sexy things, the new AI thing that's out there, or, this new idea or this trend over here. And they forget about the foundational stuff that you and I often talk about. And I think
Yeah.
that's really important. So when we're looking at those profit levers that I like to pull, some of them are really easy, right? And it's looking at how can you make those little incremental changes, right? So one of those strategies is optimizing your revenue, right? Looking at it as, okay, where am I getting it from? Let's just assume you're already getting it, but how can we make it a little better, right? Can we close one more deal out of the 10 that come in the funnel? Can we close 3 instead of 2? Can we close 4 instead of 3? That's a little shift that a new skill set or a little bit of training or a little bit of preparatory work in advance of talking to that person could really move the needle on your profitability because you can make that one more sale. And I think those kind of ideas that are helpful to business owners are what they really need to hear rather than going, we need to be on this train today. Oh, we need to be on, that ladder tomorrow. And it's focused, concentrated little tweaks to what you're already doing. And that could start with a message.
It starts with, and we need 50% growth in the next month.
Sure.
Well, okay, yeah, don't we all? Who doesn't?
Growth the month before?
Yeah, like I said, who doesn't? Who doesn't need that? Okay, yeah, wow, you're in an awfully big group there, But you're right. It's incremental changes that make the difference. It's all compounding, right?
It is.
You understand that things compound. It's the old, start with a penny, double it every day. In 30 days, you got over $5 million, right? It's just
the math's off on that one there, but just yes.
Well, it's not. It's actually.
Oh, you said 30 days. If it was 30 years, yes.
No, 30 days.
In 30 days, you take a penny and you double it every day.
Double it every day for 30 days, and you'll be 5,300,700 and something.
Wow. Okay.
So, all right. For real. My wife told me I'm wrong too. My wife told me I'm wrong, and I went on the calendar with her.
Yes.
1 to 2, 2 to 4, 4 to 8, 8 to 16, 16 to 32. When you hit day 21, you start getting excited.
Because they're bigger numbers, lots more zeros.
Boom, and all of a sudden it's over $5 million.
But look, Matt, see what that's the point though. See what a penny can do.
That's right.
Those are the things that people walk over. They don't even pick up those lost pennies anymore.
That's right. That's right. So, but again, in the scope of what we're talking about, it's the same principle.
It is.
Don't discount the little. It's the little, because you have all these different profit centers, like you're saying, leave everything in your business. And if you start changing them all by 2%, 3%, 5% here, all of a sudden the numbers are getting massive, scary massive. Like you're going, there's no way. Just like you did. A penny, people go, no way. Because I go, if I give you $100,000 right now, or give you a penny, and we're going to double it for 30 days, which would you take?
Obviously, the second, the latter.
Okay, but people would be like, give me the 100,000. A guy did this, and this is just a dumb aside. He's walking around with 6 Hershey bars, like a pack of 6 Hershey bars, and 10 ounces of silver. Okay. And you go to people, which would you like? The 10 ounces of silver or the Hershey bars? Everybody's taking the Hershey bars because they have no idea what it's per ounce. Even at $4 an ounce, that's $40. That's more than 6 Hershey bars. Okay. And today it's like $14, $18 an ounce, $20. So it's like a lot of money, but people don't get it, right? They don't understand value.
Yep.
They don't understand where the stuff's at. So it's just fun stuff, but you can really apply it to your business.
But that's where the business owners of today who are busy, again, putting out fires and chasing clients and swinging the hammer every day, talking to their customers, doing all these things, wearing all these hats. They need somebody that can see the viewpoints from the outside and say, hey, Mr. Miss Business Owner, have you thought of this? And they're like, yes or no. chances are no. Or if it was yes, yeah, but they didn't do anything with it. And it's like that's the value of people like you and me, is that we're there to think, critically think, and come up with an idea that, one, not 25 at the same time, and go, let's change this one thing by this little movement. And let's watch the dominoes fall. And I think that's what they're missing. They're like, I don't have time. I don't have energy. I don't have this. I don't have that. I don't have money. Well, my first step when I come into a client is I make them the money that they're paying me. And when I do that, I'm free. I'm not cheap, and I'm certainly not easy, but I'm free.
That's right. That's right. It's amazing because we talk about this a lot on the show here on Sharpen the Spear, because it's outside eyes. That's what I call it. We don't have the emotional attachment, for one. Okay. And if we want to be totally honest, every entrepreneur is the problem.
Isn't that
They're always in the way. They're always the stumbling block to success and everything else. And there's a lot of ways to fix that, right? But that normally I was 20 years of a problem.
Yeah.
It took me losing everything to figure out I was the problem, because that's how thick I am. It took, don't lose right. I didn't lose a little bit of money and go, oh, I'm doing things. I lost everything. Okay. And then I go, maybe I did something wrong. Maybe all the things that all my highly successful friends were telling me was true.
I know better.
I should go thank them and ask why they didn't make me do it. Of course, because they can't, right? So that's that beauty of outside eyes, though. You got to be willing to take, there's wisdom in a multitude of counselors. It's biblical. Okay. We want to get those people that can see it. They're not attached. We're attached. It's our child.
Yes.
Our businesses are a child. And if you're attached to it like that, you can't make sound decisions.
Well, and oftentimes they can't see the decisions because they're so buried in the day-to-day operations of the company that they can't step back and, what's that saying, see the forest through the trees.
That's it. 10,000 foot view. We talk about, it's just, and it's not easy, especially depending where you're at in your business. If you're used to doing day-to-days, you're buried in that kind of stuff. What I need you to do, what Marcia and I need you to do, is take a weekend, at least one day, and go and be alone and think about your business. Yeah. Just go, where should this be going?
Right.
Why am I still here? What am I not doing? Who do I need to get me to where I got to go? I need to think about that. What's the actual vision of my company? Not my mission. What's my vision? Where am I going with this? Am I going to sell it? Am I do this for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? Going to give it to my kids who definitely don't want it? What's going to happen with all this? Like, take a day, I don't know, go on a picnic. I don't know, go do something and just kind of dream a little bit about this stuff and start writing a few of these questions down and go, now where do I find the answers?
Brilliant.
Right?
Brilliant.
Then you reach out to Marcia, you reach out to me, whatever. And you start bringing those people in and go, I have these issues. I have these problems. I wrote them down on Saturday. What are you going to do about it? Okay. I just want answers, right?
I would love that kind of a client that comes in and says, I got these problems. What are you going to do about them? I'm like, yeah, let's go. Let's get to work, right?
That's it.
That kind of stuff just lights me up to be able to do that. And you are so on point. They can't do anything because they don't take the time. And then they're looking at it going, well, I'm busy. Well, you could be less busy if you knew what the important, impactful things that you should be doing that you're probably not doing, and focusing on the right stuff at the right time rather than chasing the squirrels and running after shiny objects or doing the shell game with your money, trying to make it look like you're somebody rather than something that you're not.
I think an exercise people should do, owners should do, is start to evaluate their time.
Yeah, isn't that funny?
Okay. So I had a great example just this morning. They own a lawnmower shop, right? They repair, they sell, they do whatever. Well, one guy's the mechanic, one owner, and the other guy works front, deliveries, and everything. I'm like, well, has he thought about what he's actually worth? Mm-hmm. How much would you pay someone to fix small engines? Mm-hmm. I said, because I got 40 things on the board here that they could be working on to grow the business, but he's fixing engines. Okay. I could hire someone for $15 to $18 an hour who will actually not take a 20-minute coffee break and go run out to the bank and go see his mom and whatever because he's the owner and can't manage this time. He has no accountability because he's the owner. We're the worst.
Yes.
Okay. We're the worst at managing our time. An employee, I can tell here, you have no unaccounted for time.
Yes.
Lunch is now. This is when you start. This was the end. This is what you do at this hour and these hours. And on every Wednesday at 9:00, you're going to do this for an hour. And I'm going to set out your day and you're going to know and you're going to be highly productive. It's going to be awesome. Right.
Yes.
So this is what you're saying. We need to understand what that costs. If I had to replace me, what would I have to pay someone? And then you'll stop doing all that nonsense.
Mm.
Oh, good. Did you do a good job cleaning the toilet today for $87 an hour? Okay. Thanks for that 5 minutes. Okay. Like you know what I mean? It's like, you got to like sometimes get that real with them.
Exactly.
Like really, dude, like you're standing there with a toilet brush in your hand.
Exactly.
You're the stinking owner.
And that's what they need to see. That's why they need those outside eyes, if you said, from the 40,000 foot level. I think it is truly, truly important for them to understand that, you know, we should be as owners of the company. That's who I talk to all the time, is I want to talk to the owners because they're the ones, like you said, that are in the way. And if you're going to have a business that's going to be saleable later on, nobody's going to want to buy your headache. So you ought to have systems and processes in place and people in place that are an asset to your company, right? Now that you're not working for $87 an hour on $15 an hour jobs, you've got someone $15 an hour. And you've got them working and improving, and you can hire a second one, a third one. What? Now you're doing triple the amount of production that you could have never done on your own shoulders. But that makes it attractive to the future buyer of the company because they're going to come in and take over, but not come in and roll up their sleeves and start working on the engine.
Yeah, they're not buying you. You're not for sale. If the business hinges on you, we talk about this often, but you're not selling anything. All you have is some depreciating assets to sell.
Exactly.
Oh, you don't like my, 2006 truck? I do deliveries with you. What, you're not going to give me? That's got to be worth at least 20,000. Like, please, right? So this is the exercise they have to go through because we're attached. Okay, my stuff is worth a lot of money, and like. It's worth the same as the other guys.
The other thing about that you just brought up a golden nugget. When I said in my introduction that the buyer would or my clients would come tell me the value of their company was this ridiculous number, and they couldn't prove where they were going to come up with that number or even ensure that they could get that later on. The value there's two values that buying companies look for. Positive increasing cash flow. That's money after everything. And then they're looking at the operations. Is it duplicatable, right? And so revenue, cash flow, duplication, they're going to give you a multiple of that. And if you've owned your company for 30 years and you're bringing in, let's just do a round fuzzy number, you're making $1 million in revenue each year, they're not going to give you $30 million for that company. I promise you. They're going to look at how systems, is it operating? Do you have a positive flow of cash? Do you have a pipeline? Do you have systems? Do you have things that can go in? Then the more of those things that you have inside of your company that are running well, you've got a stream of customers coming in. You've got contracts where the customers are repeat buying. You've got people that understand where everything is and how to do it all. And you've got systems and you've got things that are going on and you're not in the way. They may come in and give you a 3 or 5 multiple. They may give you a 7 or 8 multiple if you've got something really cool or a unicorn that's in this business. But you're definitely not going to get the 30 years of your life, your blood, sweat, tears, nights, weekends, savings, all of that stuff in there. So what Richard and I talk about all the time is how do we strengthen your company so that you have that freedom and lifestyle now, You enjoy your company now. You're lining your pockets now. And it's a great running company, so you can get a little something, something on the back end.
Yeah, I think, Marcia, what's really important for people to understand, again, I'll use my experience as a good example. You want a well-running business, everything you just described, right? We love it. We want to be, hey, I'd love to come here like 10, 15 hours a week to make sure everything's humming, and then I'm out doing what I want to do. Okay, that's my business. That's my model. That's the model I want. Okay, I get all that. Now, here's the deal. If you're not doing that, like, okay, great. I did all that. I spend 15 hours a week here. It's great. Here's my number. I want to sell in 5 years. Okay. 5 years. I got it humming now. 5 years of this. Oh, I'm going to get a big number because everything's humming. We'll be at, 5 million a year in revenue. I'll get a triple on that or a quadruple or a 5X. That's awesome. I get out. That's beautiful. But all of a sudden in a year and a half, we get another 08, 09. The economy crashes. Things go in the tank. So here's the thing with me, I had depreciating assets. Well, I had nothing. Sometimes you get forced to sell or you get forced out of business. Anything can happen.
A partnership that dissolves. There's thousands
exactly.
of things that can
all these
happen.
things that you're unexpected. So here's the point. If you're working towards that systemization processes, this running itself, great. Okay. And because it's never, seldom does it come at the perfect time to sell. Seldom do we ever get today. Today's when I'm going to get 5X instead of 3X. Today, May 6th. Okay. This is the day. This is what we're going to, it's not going to happen like that. You might be in that sweet spot and you time it and you get out, but more likely than not, it's not going to be the best time to sell. So the better you've got it systemized process, you got everything running, the higher low number you're going to get. Does that make sense? Right?
The higher low number. Exactly.
The higher low number, instead of 30 cents on the dollar, you're going to get 45.
Yes.
And that, hey, you know what? You're going to go under anyways, or you got to sell anyways for whatever those reasons are, but you maximized it. You maximize the low number. I mean, I know it sounds kind of contradictory, but that's what it is. So the more you're preparing for that method, and hey, I hope you get to the perfect spot where it's all done. It's hum for a couple of years and you say, give me that check. I'm out the door.
Exactly.
Okay.
And it may not be that you're going to, like my mom, that you're going to not want to retire or want to retire. You may just go on to the next project.
Exactly.
Right?
So here's how I describe it. And I'd like to get your opinion on this. So I compare a business like an apple tree. Okay. So I got an apple tree and it's like 20 foot tall, produces great apples. What if I grew my apple tree to 800 feet tall? We'll call it an Amazon apple tree. Okay. And I'll go, wow, that's really big. And it's like not stopping. It's growing. So a couple of things. First, really hard to get to the fruit. It's 800 feet high.
Yes.
What else grows continuously? And then what happens? We'll go with cancer. And what does it do? It kills its host.
Yes.
Right? It grows and grows and grows and grows until it's done. Divided, dead, it kills whatever, right? Instead, how about, this goes to your point of what to do next. I have this apple tree that's 20 foot, my business, producing beautiful, I'll call them Honeycrisp apples, my favorite, right? They're amazing. Well, boy, I'd like some more apples. I'll go plant another tree,
and wait,
otherwise known as a business, start another business, and then another. Now, oh, look, I've got an orchard. I've got an orchard of businesses that are producing all these fruits and all these ways. That's entrepreneurship to me. Not trying to make one thing so absolutely massive. You will lose control. You become, okay, it goes public. Now you got 12 other people telling you what you can do and not do and everything else. And it just ends, just give me the check. I'm out.
Yep.
Money. So that's kind of, excuse me, that's just how I look at it. If we put in that kind of perspective, build the system, build the processes, because the ultimate goal for me is Marcia comes in and go, oh, Rich, I love this business. I'll tell you what, I'm going to give you 10 million. Can we agree on that? Say, that's great. You hand me a $10 million check. We shake hands. I'm out the door. You're in, and nobody knows the business sold because that's how well it runs. And you bought it for that reason. Now you can flip to the other side and go get that hot mess down the road and get it for 20 cents on the dollar and give them, $95,000 instead of 10 million and turn that thing around in a heartbeat because you know what you're doing, that's a different kind of market.
Yep.
Right. So if you have that skill, you can do that. See, so there's always a way to win.
Yes.
But there's also a lot of ways to lose.
Yes. Agreed.
Okay. And that's how you build your business.
And I think, so I love the idea. And yes, you scared the heck out of me. I always talk to my clients, growth is required for you to stay in business, not just
Amen.
survive, because if you're just surviving and you're not growing, you're actually dying. But growth does not mean market domination and you have to become Amazon. It means that you have a positive increasing cash flow. You're finding new consistent customers coming into your circle because new ones come in and old ones leave, right? It'd be nice to keep the old ones, but there's a certain number that falls off. So you always have to be growing and doing. So in order to do that, you need to have the ability to handle new customers. You need the ability to find new customers, right? You've got to be able to keep old customers. And then you've got to learn how to do it easier every day. So it's not rocket science here. I'm not a rocket engineer, nor do I play one on TV. I just know, like you, Richard, we know the foundations of what can move the needle and make the business easier to run so that you have that lifestyle that you wanted when you got into business, when you left corporate to take on this monstrous task of being a business owner. The final piece is you really shouldn't, because it's rare that it ever happens, that you ever do this alone. So if you can have somebody help shoulder the ideas, the deliverables, the processes that you get things done, they all don't have to be employees. They can be contractors, they can be partnerships. But when you get help from people that know a better way to skin a cat, right? Then you're going to get there faster and more profitably because we know the shortcut. And that's what you should be looking at when you're building your business and you take that Saturday morning off and go have your picnic and do your deep dive thinking. It's what are my problems and who can help me solve them?
Exactly. Because here's the thing. Here's what I want people to get that, again, I didn't do. Okay. And
we learn by errors, you guys. You're getting our short.
That's right. I got 20 years of stack. We could do this for hours. So all the things I did wrong. But like I tell my children, be who I am, not who I was.
Right. But they don't listen to that.
They don't listen to that either. But I feel good when I say it.
Mine didn't.
To a degree. To a degree. It depends. I have 6, so I had 6 different chances, and they're all got varied results. And that's
congratulations.
life.
I'm happy for you.
But when we look at this, it's like, okay, and this is what I couldn't grasp because I'm a Marine. I'm really thick. I'm going to do it all myself. I want all the credit. I'm going to succeed. I don't need anyone's help. I'm getting to the top all by myself, right? Really stupid. Okay. So we're coaches. We're business advisors, right? There's a ton of us out there. There's people for I had a fractional CFO, right? There's a temporary person who comes in and fixes a whole lot of stuff financially for you, right? Early on in your business, and I don't care if you've been in business, 6 days, 6 months, 6 years, 25 years. I work with a guy who's been in business 40 years, and I turn their businesses around. 40 years. At that, we go in and we make a difference, right? Because, again, we've talked all why. But this is what's important. The sooner you start finding value in that, finding value and bringing in that expert, the outside eyes, the quicker you're going to get the profitability, the quicker you're going to get the freedom, the quicker you're going to get the impact, right? You're going to be able to do so much. And people are going to go, how did you grow this company so fast? And you can say, well, I didn't.
I got help.
I got all the right people to help me do it. I'm Henry Ford. I don't know how to make tires. Here, talk to that guy. He knows how to make tires. Headlights, I don't know how to make it. Here, talk to this guy, right? He didn't go out there building the car himself.
No.
Right? He sat there. This is the analogy I use. You're the conductor of the orchestra. You have a 93-piece orchestra. You're a Chicago Symphony Orchestra, 93 pieces. When you go to the symphony and you're sitting, you're all excited. You can hear Beethoven's Ninth. It's going to be awesome. There's 93 people, and guess what? You don't know any of their names.
No.
You don't know any. You don't know who they are. Yeah, there's first chair violin. There's first whatever. But then all of a sudden, the lights go down. The overture's finishing, and who do they announce?
No.
It's Daniel Barenboim, conductor of the Chicago Symphony Orchestra. Oh, and everyone claps, and they're all happy. And this guy walks up with this little stick, okay, and he's saying he taps on the podium,
Attention.
and then
attention.
we begin. And he's pointing, he's pulling out a little bit here, a little less there, give me a little more here. He does that and looks really like he's doing the same thing over and over again. And it's amazing.
Yes.
And he's the only guy you know.
Yep.
That's who you are as the owner. Your orchestra is fine-tuned. They know exactly what to do, how to do it. They make beautiful music. They just need you to come in and say, make sure you do it this way. And that's go a little more perfect. Then you get done, you go, you're the star again, and you leave.
And you go
right?
take your bow. Yes.
That's it. You turn around, of course, you point to the orchestra.
Yes.
Thank you. And they
my
stand up. They
team.
did. These guys are awesome. It's great. Okay, cool. Now we're out. You know,
Love it.
it's just, that's who you are as an entrepreneur. You have to think that way. How do I become the conductor, not the instrument? I don't want to be the instrument or the person playing the instrument.
Well, there's a time and a space to be the instrument tuner and the person that brings it in and the first violinist. There had to be one in the beginning. But the idea is to get out of that space and into the conductor position sooner rather than later. And I can guarantee you, even though you have this amazing skill that you wrapped your business around, there's somebody that can do it at 80% your skill set and still make you tons of money.
Yeah. And your customers won't know the difference.
Yes. Yes.
That's the hard reality. Like, I know you're amazing. I always give my owners that. You're the best there is. There's no one better. But if this guy can do it 95% as good, 97, your customers will not know the difference. And if you're still worried, skill them up the next 5% and turn them loose.
Over time.
Like, come on. This is the whole point. To your point, whether you're fixing machine, there's always people who can do it better than you.
Yes.
And you should be thankful. Be thankful for that. Otherwise, you're doing this. Like, every great conductor can play an instrument. I guarantee you. They play piano, they've played something at a high level. They don't just go in and like wave a baton.
I can swing a baton.
That's right. They actually can play instruments, right? So they're not concert worthy. Their skill set is in something else.
But they're able to see the big picture.
That's right. That's right.
And bring all the experts together and produce something that one person alone couldn't do.
That's right. Again, back to Beethoven. He wrote the music for 93 people to play.
Isn't that insane?
Think, like, how do you even hear all that? Okay. That's a gift, and it's awesome. And I'm glad he was around. He's one of my faves. But the reality is, in the business, this is what we're talking about. So these are little, like, whatever they are, metaphors, whatever you want to call them. But they're things you want to think of because they help you understand where you should be as an owner.
Yeah.
Okay. And like other things we've talked about is what's in my business. Like, understand what I call it your economic engine.
Mm.
This is your economic engine, and you can increase the horsepower. You can decrease it. You can idle it. You can but they all have consequences.
Yes. Right.
You decrease the horsepower, you're making less money. You're reaching less people. You idle, like you mentioned, you maintain. That's the same thing as death. It's just a matter of time. There's only forward and backwards. There's only two directions.
Yes.
But you can go in and what we're talking about is tweaking the horsepower, those little bits.
Yes.
If you know anything about racing, they're looking for the tiniest increment of improvement in horsepower, right? That it's the difference between winning and losing. 100th of a second in a sprint, with your runners, whatever. You have to start to think on these terms, because when you get to a certain level, that's what athletes look for. Mm-hmm. They want the coach going to give them that tiniest little thing. I was lucky to work with Chicago Bears back in the early 90s. Michael Singletary, last season, we're working with him, doing performance training and stuff like that. Best season ever, his best of all time. Best shuttle times, best all his work, everything. Had his best season, right? It was amazing. Here's a guy who was into the littlest improvements. He understood. He did stuff that you're thinking, what is this guy doing on a balance beam? An oscillating beam. What is he walking on? Like, you'd be like, this is but he understood the tiny improvements in the little areas got him that excellence, and he's a man of excellence.
Well, I think the flip side of that, and that's a great story, Richard, because it is those little micro things. But if you've got a team working for you, and I've got a company that's working with me right now, and they're making significant changes and drastic changes, and every other week it's a new change, and I'm like, whoa, let's hold this back here. It's creating unnecessary stress in the workplace because there's so much significant change. Many people don't like change. What's the law? Death and taxes and change are always going to occur, and nobody likes any of those three. But if you can do it in a tiny increment, then you get your team on board, you get your clients on board. One of my strategies is to increase your price, right? And if you come out and you go, oh, I was $10 today and I'm $50 tomorrow, you're not going to have any clients. But if you say you're $10 today and you're $11 tomorrow, and next month you bump it to $12, and you do these incremental changes, then your customers are already expecting minor changes from you to improve, and you put a new on it, or you spell it in French, or you change the color of the box and you call it new and you can charge an extra dollar for it. Whatever it is that you can do to increase the pricing so you can get value out of it, it's still always accepted in an incremental change rather than a big, woo, we're going to turn everybody on their head and shake them out.
Yeah. And the percentage increase is way more than what you're charging when you start to look at it. So again, it's compounding things. It's just amazing. So you're exactly right. Doing change for change is another bad strategy, right?
Well,
You're talking.
Change usually comes out of fear. And when you react out of a place of fear, it's never positive.
Good. That's a good point. Really good point. So we want to make sure that, but also some people get into like, our thing is change. We're always changing. Like, hold on. Like, are you saying changing or innovating?
Innovating.
Like what, because changing is like, oh, we wore different clothes today. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, wow. We mopped the floor from the front to the back instead of the back to the front, right? Like, well, okay, that's not, it's not doing, but innovation, we've come up with something new, a new offering, a new way of doing this. We solved a problem they didn't think there was a solution for. That's innovation. Or we found
a way to do it less expensively, or quicker, or the quality improved. I mean, there's so many different things that we can do to make those significant changes with still those incremental changes.
Right. And the point is to drive this home is that's where you win. Okay. If I've got a 5-foot wide oak tree in my backyard, that's got to go. And all I have is an axe. Okay. So, and I'm like, wow, that's a lot of chopping. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to come out every morning before I get in the car, and I'm going to take 5 whacks at this thing each day. And tomorrow I'm going to do 5 whacks. And for the next year and a half,
poor tree.
That's what I'm going to do. Eventually it's coming down. It's dead anyways, but so it's already dead. I'm not cutting on a live tree, but I'm saying 3, 4, 5 whacks a day. Eventually the tree comes down because that starts to build, and then the cuts get bigger and bigger and bigger. Eventually the weight takes it down, right? So we have to understand, again, compounding and consistency. Yeah. Consistency in what you do is what matters. You're doing it every day. And like you said earlier, the little increments you can be consistent with. The huge lifts, the big lifts, you can't be consistent with those. They're taking too many resources, too much change at one time, right? So people can't assimilate this. I love what you said about assimilating these little, it's $1. It's a $4 increase. That's it. You're paying 60, we go to 64. Okay, a month. Ooh, big deal. Now, you're not going to lose a lot of people over that.
Exactly.
But I always give this little analogy. So you got a fitness club. I use this. You charge $60 a month. You got 300 members. Okay, cool. You're taking home maybe whatever, $4,500 a month net, right? You got 25%. Well, if I raise $4 a month, I'm at $64 a month now. What's that going to give me? Wow, that actually gives me $1,200 more a month of profit, real profit to keep. It's a house payment, right? Am I going to lose how many clients because I raised it by $4?
Nobody.
I'd have to lose. You know how many you'd have to lose? You have to lose 63 clients of the 300 to reach your former profit level.
To break even. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So like you're pretty good. You ain't going to lose 63 clients.
No.
Okay. You're going to make that, you're going to lose 5, and they're going to be the ones you don't want to be there anyways. So the ones who always complain when everything's free and complain about stuff, get rid of them. That's a win. Okay. But now you've picked up that additional profit and no one's going to complain. If they raise a Big Mac by 25 cents, you're still going to get the Big Mac.
Yes.
Right. Like it's not, $4.25. Oh, now it's $4.50. I'm not buying this.
And that's why, that's why we look at different things, right? You can look at the data and you can make good decisions because we're able to run numbers and look at that and say, oh, what do you think would happen if this? Do you think it could happen? Let's test the market, right? No, I mean, these are decisions that every business owner should be making at the same time, right? Or consistently with it. And they have huge benefits. And we would I just encourage you, go ask for help. Find some help to help you improve your business, to get you what you want out of it, the lifestyle, the money, the status that you wanted to have, so you can go buy that new Corvette, or you don't have to buy the new Corvette, but whatever it is that you're going to do, and whatever it is that you want out of this business, we would encourage you to go get some help.
Yeah. And like we said a little bit earlier, but know what you want first. You can't find something you don't know you need to know the problem you want to solve.
Mm-hmm.
You need to know the goal of the place you want to be.
You don't need
if you know that, right? You don't need to know how to do it. You just need to know what you want.
Love it.
We got the how.
Love
okay, it. But you don't know if they do. You can't say, "Can you do this?" Yes, I can do that. Oh no, I can't, but Marcia can. Go talk to her. Exactly. This is her gig. Okay, like go talk to this. And I do that all the time. Hey, I know my limits. There's certain things I do and other things you got the wrong person, but I know the right person. Right. And I send them that way because that's what we do. Well, I don't want to be greedy and take someone because I think I could help them. I could do that. Why am I going to get out of my wheelhouse? And this goes to you as the owner. Don't get out of your wheelhouse. Understand where you're at. Don't try to be doing everything under the sun, just like chasing every single customer in the world. They're not all your customers. Same point, right? Understand who your ideal customer is. That's the person you want to serve. You can get laser focused on that. And that's how we all succeed, right?
Love it. This has been
awesome.
Fun.
Hasn't it?
Yes.
So let's do this. Speaking of talk to Marcia, she does that. How do people talk to Marcia? And you can tell them how you do that.
Oh my goodness. So I am all over social at Marcia Riner, and that's RINER.com. I'm always talking about business growth, but really, truly, what's been exciting me lately is that many of my customers have challenges when we come up with these great ideas on how to implement those challenges. And they're like, oh, that's a great idea, but I don't know how to do it. I don't have anybody to do it. I don't know where to go with it. We can help with that. We know people, we've got strategies, we've got ideas and pieces on that. So I would encourage you to go figure out where those gaps might be. And I have a great place to do that. You can go check out a free growth and marketing audit at Profit Booster. And that's a great place to start. I'm not going to hound you. If it makes sense, if you get some great ideas, which I promise you will, get some great ideas to open up those thought processes of what else can I do? Then, yeah, I would encourage you to go give it a try.
I love it. You guys, you got to think different about your business. Just like Marcia is saying, you got to be open and get ideas that are going to expand your thought process and your ability to implement.
Yes.
You got to be able to take action on this stuff. Start with small actions. They will compound and grow for you. And then someone like Marcia will continue to cause you to grow.
Yes.
Just like I would, right? It's the whole thing. It's not, pardon the term, but we're not a bunch of one-trick ponies. Okay, we're going to do this. Like this is a relationship you'll have for most of my clients, 3, 4, 5 years. Okay, doing amazing things, right? Marcia is the same way. This is what we do because you also have to learn, and there's stages of learning.
Yeah.
Okay, in business. You don't know it. Yeah, and it's it. And sometimes it's, oh, you're at this ceiling? Okay, you got to go talk to Richard now. I go, oh, you're at this ceiling, you got to go talk to Marcia.
Yeah.
I'm done with you. I'm the middle school coach. Okay.
Oh,
she's the high school coach.
Okay.
Then you go to the college coach. Then you go to a pro coach, right? Or whatever. And we could be the pro coaches. I'll take that. But you know what I mean? You're going to outgrow certain coaches. This is where we're being real.
Yes.
You know, and it's, and the good coaches will tell you when that time is.
Yep, exactly.
It's any coach, any teacher, a musician teacher, they're going to, if you're really good, they're going to know when they're done and it's time to go to the next level coach who can take you where you need to be. So Marcia, outstanding conversation, as I knew it would be. No doubt whatsoever. It was absolutely amazing. I totally
We could
appreciate
probably
your
talk
time.
for another 3 hours too.
Easy. We'll do that. We have to go refill our coffee and stuff. Though,
Yes.
And keep going. But this has just been fantastic. I just want to thank you for taking the time and just being a spectacular guest, sharing so much great stuff that these guys can take away, great nuggets, and it's just going to be super valuable. And again, I appreciate everything you do and have done and continue to do. And for everybody else listening, we will see you on the next STS podcast.
And don't forget, revenue feeds the ego, profit feeds the family. So if you want to see how I can show you at least $100,000 in hidden annual profits in less than 3 minutes, and not only show you where, but how to create that 100K in 6 months or less without additional advertising or marketing spend, guaranteed, just go to sharpenthespiritcoaching.com. See how truly simple it is. That's sharpenthespiritcoaching.com. Do it now.